Hey guys, Tyler here, and this is the Garage Warrior podcast and videocast, and I'm super excited today to have on the call with me a new friend of mine, Bruce Krahn. How's it going today, brother?
Very good. How are you doing, Tyler?
Doing good. He wanted me to say, strong like Krahn.
I did not want you to say that.
Oh, you did. So Bruce and I met, what was it, 4 or 5 months ago,
Yeah.
back in Florida. We were all at a fitness event, and we met each other, and Bruce is just such an awesome guy. He's an author. Are you a best-selling author, Bruce? Can you call yourself that?
In Canada, I can. Yes.
Oh, in Canada. He's a
Yes.
best-selling author in
Canada.
Canada. Been on TV. He's helped piles and piles of people look great, feel great, perform great. And so today I'm sure we're going to have tons of nuggets of wisdom. And the best part is, Bruce, how old are you right now?
Oh, God. I'm older than dirt. I'm 45.
You're not older than dirt. But Bruce looks fantastic for 45, and he's looked that way for more than 2 decades now. So, Bruce, that's awesome. I hope we can kind of share some longevity secrets because we got a lot of people on the call who I'm sure are interested in that. But before we jump into anything, for people who don't really know who you are, don't have any background on you, can you just give us like a 50,000-mile view? Who are you, and what are you hoping to teach people?
That's a tough question to answer in a few sentences, but I'll give you my best shot. Okay, so I started personal training back as a way to pay my way through university a couple decades ago, actually, when I started, there weren't any personal trainers. There were none. I was the only one at my gym.
It wasn't a real job yet.
No, it wasn't even a profession. So I was doing it in exchange for like protein powder, or usually it was food. Seriously, I was hungry. I wanted to eat. Take me out for dinner. I'll give you a training session. So
Wow.
I did that for quite a while, and I just started to see it grow. I saw things happen in Hollywood. Things started to kind of pick up. So I thought maybe I could make a profession out of this. And I shifted my studies at school and turned my attentions towards that end. And then I started to train more clients. I met a record producer. I started to train a couple celebrities. Then things really took off. I opened a number of personal training studios, wrote a book. That's been a while since my first book came out about 5 years ago, and it did well here in Canada. Now I have my second book that's being released by Random House in just about another 6 months. It'll be released. It's already written, but it's just going through the publishing process, and it's called Trouble Spot Fat Loss. And I train people online, and I still have some clientele that come to I have a little private gym, and that's kind of the top level view. Fitness is my life. Been doing it. I'm married to a nutritionist. So that helps too.
That makes it easy, man.
It does, man.
It easy for you. Well, so you could say that your kind of specialty is taking people from where they're at and just making them look fantastic, right?
Yeah, I really do enjoy that. I like to work with motivated people who want to look hot. Because it's really exciting because they'll do what you tell them to do. When you're working with people who aren't so motivated, it can be really painstaking, the whole process
Sure.
of trying to help them. So it's great when they'll just I say, hey, I need you to eat some sand for a couple days, and they'll just do it.
Some sand. That's fantastic. Sand. Well, that's an interesting thought that you bring up kind of right off the bat, is this factor of motivation. Do you have a system for keeping people motivated and getting them interested beyond like a superficial goal? Because I'm sure you get a lot of people coming to you just like, I want to look good naked. And that's a great goal, but that's a goal that usually only propels someone for a few months or a small portion of their transition. In order to get somebody to make a lifelong change, you've got to really motivate them further. Do you have any tricks for taking somebody from maybe more of a superficial goal to more of a lifelong health and fitness goal?
That's really a fantastic question. I find that you have to tap into, of course, their emotional pain. If you're not in a state of some sort of state of emotional pain, if your problem, whatever it is, whether you're too fat, you don't have enough cash in the bank, whatever it is, you can't get a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, that has to be causing you so much pain. That's the only way you're ever going to change that.
Sure.
Until it just takes you to that point where you're on your knees and you just can't stand it anymore. You need to hit that rock bottom place. And so sometimes with people, I like to kind of pull that out of them.
Agitate the pain, pick the scab.
Pick the scab a little bit. And then once I do that, I like to get them plant a seed of an intention, a vision in their mind. And so I'll have them bring a picture of how they would like to look. And I have them post that someplace where they'll see it every day. So I'll have them say, I want you to have it on your mirror in your bathroom, put it on your computer somewhere on the side, on your desk somewhere. on your fridge. It's a key place, and because that really can help to change your behaviors going forward.
Sure.
So, I'll have them do that. And I found it's quite remarkable because I did that myself a lot of years ago. And I just put a picture up of a physique, a picture of a guy. So I had this picture of some half naked guy, in all these places in my house. My girlfriend at the time, is something you want to tell me?
Why do you have naked underwear models all
what's
around,
going on? And I'm like, I'm going to look like that one day, and it helped me to change my behaviors, because it's the behaviors. It's what we do every single day, day in, day out, that form who we become, whether it be physically, emotionally, what we achieve in life. So we really have to work on those behaviors.
Yeah, that's such a powerful tip right there, right off the bat, Bruce, is just taking something and taking a goal, making it visual by picking like a body type that you want to look like, and just bringing it in front of your eyes throughout the day. Because like you said, it's so important. It's not the crash diets. It's not like the weeks where you're working on 7 days a week that actually get you results in the long run. It's those little things you do every day. It's the choice to drink water instead of soda. It's the choice to have protein instead of bread, right? It's all those little things each time throughout the day that actually make the long run very different. When you're helping people kind of determine this goal, do you always tackle it superficially, or do you, like you said, you mentioned agitating the pain. So I'm sure that people sometimes come to you with pains that aren't related to superficial. Maybe they're more health-wise and so on and so forth. What do you do about that?
Yeah, they certainly do. I mean, of course, it's rare when I'll have someone who says they don't want to look better, but I haven't, it's rare, but it's happened. I mean, I've had people who just came with, say, performance goals. That's another ball of wax. But people who say, for example, they're having health issues. They have very low energy. Their doctors instructed them that you've got to do something. You've got to get a lot more active. You got to change your life from a physical standpoint. Sure. And when you're working with those kind of folks, sometimes it depends on the person. Some of the type A types, they are motivated differently than others. So it's not always that you can find that little place where you can push the button. Some people are really motivated by goals. I found that avoiding loss. Okay, so there's a couple things I found that help people to get them motivated. One is people are they very much don't want to lose anything. So if you put some kind of a bet on something, and this can actually work with people. So if you say, listen, if you don't achieve X goal by X time, you're going to have to, for example, pay me or somebody, that sort of thing. And that kind of stuff, those kind of little tricks that you can find to motivate yourself, they can work, but it's different for different people. So you have to find out what works really for you. Myself, I'm just motivated because I feel very strongly at this, probably the midpoint of my life at best, is that when I look around and I see other people that are, in my people who are in a similar age bracket and such, I just don't want to look like that. Yeah. My goodness, I don't want to feel like that. I'm very happy to say that at my age, I'm, no medications. My only medication is my daily dose of exercise, and my green drink. And really, it's not about, I just don't want to go down the traditional path that everyone seems to be going down, and I don't think that people should accept it.
No, I completely agree. That's so powerful. Just a couple things you said there, I made a YouTube video a while back on using pain as motivation. I'm glad you mentioned that, because a lot of people only associate motivation with pleasure. Like, oh, once I lose X amount of weight, I'll go on a vacation to Hawaii. But then, well, what if I don't lose weight? Well, then I'll just skip the vacation to Hawaii. There's no pain associated with the loss of them losing that trip because it never happened. But I've literally used with my clients. I had a lady her friend was getting married and she wanted to look good for her friend's wedding. She was in the wedding. I said, well, why don't you bring that bridesmaid's dress over here? So she brought the bridesmaid's dress over to my house, and I took the thing and I put it in my trunk, and I said, you get that back when you've lost the 10-pound goal that you have, right? And you better do that before your wedding, otherwise I'm going to burn this thing, and you're going to have to go shell out more cash. And she did exactly what I told her to do, and she lost the weight, and she looked fantastic. And I've used much more dramatic examples than that I won't tell you on the call because they're a little too controversial. But I've used some really dramatic things that really shook up people's values. And the trick is, the more painful it is, the more effective it is. And that's so powerful. Yeah. That's so powerful.
You're a really devilish guy.
I am. No, man. I wish I could tell you. I'll tell you the one story in private one day that I used. It was controversial. Let's put it that way. So Bruce, one of the things that we see people doing is making excuses all the time for this exercise is better than this exercise, or I don't have time to do this, or so and so told me to do this. So and so told. I guess I'm trying to get at how do you weed through the BS? Because it seems like there really isn't that many things out there, but you know, media and so on and so forth tries to make it seem like there's a million different ways to skin the cat, and you should be doing a little bit of them. And people get just so inundated with information that they end up not doing anything, or just doing a little bit of everything and not actually seeing results. So what's your take on all that?
Well, if you're talking from an exercise standpoint, one of the things I often say in my lectures is that you basically your body was built to do just a few basic primal things. Your body was made to squat, it was made to push and pull, it was made to rotate, it was made for flexion of the various joint complexes, and it was made also for lunge patterns. So you can lunge, you can flex, you can turn. Rotation is one of them as well. So it's all these things that you can do, your body was made to do. So you want to work the body in those different primal movement patterns in a properly designed program. And anything else from that is kind of superfluous, because there's so much frou-frou stuff being sold to people.
It's crazy.
When it really is crazy, when in fact there's really just certain tenets, principles of training that remain at the foundation, and they are just like in nutrition, like they're just the training, nutrition, they've got foundational principles that must be adhered to. And you can try some of this other I call it frou-frou training, but you always got to come back to the basics, and because the basics are what are going to produce the result. You want to focus on building and preserving lean muscle tissue. A lot of women lose sight of that. As you age, the process of sarcopenia kicks in. You start to lose muscle mass. Posture starts to degrade. Bone mass starts to go down. So these kind of processes can be prevented and reversed through strength training. It's just so critically important. Lift something.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm glad you mentioned that, especially for the ladies and even the gentlemen, because one of the things I see that is a trend in the fitness industry these days is that people are only talking about high intensity exercise, and they're like no more long slow cardio. They don't really talk about legitimate strength training on the basic patterns that you're talking about, and all they say is like high intensity exercise, burpees and jump squats and jump lunges, and like I think that's a great way to get your conditioning on. Don't get me wrong, but to me that should come second, or perhaps even third, to strength and things like restoring range of motion, flexibility, and things like that. That conditioning is that third component along the line. So what's your take on that stuff?